Good morning, Internet. Check, check. There we go. Good morning, Internet. Today is Friday, May 16th, 2025. I'm your host, RJ Corwin. This is Hacking with RJ. And today, we're going to try out something that I've been thinking about. Taking a pause on developing our esteemed viewer app, and going to try out a learning technique that I tried at least in part the other day. The concept is to learn a specific topic, and we're going to take a computer science topic today. But this may be applicable to other non-computer science topics. But the goal is to, from scratch, work with an AI to develop a curriculum. Me as a learner to develop with an AI a curriculum and learn from the content the AI is creating collaboratively with me. So it's akin to a learner and a textbook writer writing with the textbook writer writing the book as the learner's learning path, as their journey moves forward, and they're collaboratively saying, the learner's asking, hey, what's this example? How does this work? The author is updating the example. If the learner has some aha moment, the textbook author is writing that down. And so in a way, it's blending what was traditional textbook, where you typically write in the margins, scribble things out, highlight it. Now it's getting incorporated actually into the textbook. And so still trying to find the way to describe this, but something like a learner collaboratively writing a personal textbook with a textbook author while getting tutoring. Tentative name, a living textbook. So I actually haven't given this a try. I've only given parts of this a try. So we're going to try from scratch and see how it goes today. So the topic I'm going to be working on today is I've been trying to get better at my Golang skills. I've been using it for 3 years, but there's still areas of it that I'm not familiar with and that I could use. I'm sure I have gaps in my foundation. And so I'm going to go through this experiment. The first step is going to be to ask the AI to create the curriculum. And then I'm going to hone in on a part of the curriculum and say, hey, let's talk, let's start writing this part. Have it write the part that I'm interested in. And then I'll read through and ask questions of the AI. And we'll see that feedback loop, hopefully, of my insights contributing to the text, updating examples, things like that. So for this, we're going to use VS Code in agent mode. For lack of a better tool, it's just a good general tool for working with AIs and text content. Let's create living textbook Golang. All right. And this is the living textbook for RJ Corwin to study Golang. In this repository, RJ will ask an AI agent to create a curriculum in a curriculum.md file. Then RJ will ask the AI agent to zoom in on a topic, creating the content on the fly in a new file. And RJ's conversations with the AI will be incorporated into text. By the AI agent and RJ in a collaborative fashion. All right, so I'm just seeding. I'm seeding the this concept here so that we can give the AI agent some context. Let's go ahead and start VS Code in this folder. Zoom this out a little bit. Checking my stream, make sure that we are. Oh, I'm not sharing screen. Good thing I checked. There we go. All right, so just to review, created this living textbook Golang directory, initialized a Git repository, and I'm starting a README. All right, so I guess this README is going to be like our prompt. Let's open up the agent. Good morning, Copilot. Please review the README. We're going to be conducting this learning activity today. I'm RJ. You are the AI agent. Let's turn this into agent mode so it can create files, otherwise it just talks to us. Let's start by creating that curriculum.md file for learning Golang. Let's actually add some extra notes here. Notes for the AI agent. When creating a page on a topic, always create a new markdown file and link to that file from the curriculum file. When RJ has insights into the content, make sure to incorporate those into the content. Make sure to capture those aha moments. Like, in particular, what's an aha moment? For me, it's like typically when I'm like, oh, so what you really mean is X is like Y. A cup is a little boat for my tea. I don't know. When I make those connections, having those recorded into the text, at least in my experience when I was writing notes collaboratively with GitHub Copilot a few days ago, like I'm hoping that like when I come back to the content later, that those connections I have in the conversations in that moment when I'm figuring out content, that helps ground me, connect me back to the content, It's like when learning something, the goal is to get to somebody at point B, but everyone's starting from a different point A. And so those aha moments to me are like the figuring out what your point A was so that you can tie it to point B. All right. I'm going to go ahead and add this README. So nice thing about having this as a repository is it's something that I can keep track of my learning over time. I can push up to GitHub and have access to, and it won't just be in this markdown format. It should actually be in a nice usable, viewable rendered markdown on GitHub. So let's go with this. Good morning, Copilot, please review. We're going to start by creating that curriculum MD file. Let's see what I came up with. Change my arrow mode. I want marker mode. There we go. All right, reading this. File's been created, structured outline and GoLang. Each topic's ready to be expanded into its markdown files as you dive deeper. Let me know which topic you'd like to zoom in on first, or if you want to adjust the curriculum. It's following the prompt in the README. Thank you. Cool. Nice tailored message. Table of contents. Intro to Go. Setting up the Go environment. Go syntax and basics. Control structures. Functions and methods. Structs and interfaces. Concurrency in Go. Error handling. Testing in Go. Building and running Go programs. Go modules. Dependency management. Practical projects. All right, so right off the bat, as far as its ability to create curriculum, I'm going to base it off of the Go by example. Like one, this is like some of the basics here, but I wanted to actually dive deeper and cover things like generics. It's good though, the concurrency part, but that's like a major part of Go. So yeah. So you're taking a step back. It's kind of like the curriculum it came up with were like, of course, having an intro, environment stuff. These are the bread and butter of any programming languages, and just making sure to cover that. And then one unique, I guess 2 unique parts about Go. The concurrency model and the error handling being kind of like a specific pattern and parts of the language. Testing, generic. Building and running, dependency management. All just generic stuff. So if I didn't know better, there might be some gaps in this initial curriculum. Let's keep going and see how it does. I guess I'm gonna just start with, let's do structs and interfaces. I probably have something I could learn there. Let's see what it comes up with. All right. Oh, interesting that it already created the links to each file, but the files don't exist. Okay. Let's work on structs and interfaces. All right, so just a note real quick, like because I only have the curriculum MD file in here, it's not seeing the README. Let's add context. And a real quick way to add a bunch of stuff that you know is going to be relevant. I've been using this just open editors. That's just whatever files are open. I wonder if there's a way to pin the README, because we want to make sure that whatever file we're in, that it's included in the context. GitHub might, or VS Code might just want it to be implemented as something like instructions. I'm not sure. We'll roll with this for now, not get distracted. Let's work on structs and interfaces. It created the structs and interfaces page and linked from your curriculum. It covers the definitions, examples, and an aha moment about Go's implicit interface satisfaction. Whose aha moment? Yours? Copilot? All right, I'm gonna say, okay, so one nice thing about using Copilot, like, I'm gonna review the proposed changes, and if they just look like, if I want to like undo and like refactor my question, I could just say undo and then edit my question. Maybe I didn't provide enough detail. So it's got an overview. It's talking about structs. It's creating a person. That's cute. Me. Quite accurate there. Key points. Struct field can be accessed using blah, 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 blah. Okay. Interfaces. An interface is a type. Okay, now it's covering interfaces. Key points. Aha moment. I realized that Go's interfaces are satisfied implicitly, which makes the language very flexible and encourages composition over inheritance. So it's interesting. So it interpreted the aha moment, like it keyed off of the aha moment stuff. Let's look at how I phrase this. When RJ has insights into the content, make sure to incorporate those into the content. It's just a little eager, you know? I think I'm gonna keep these changes. This might be a good, this is not necessarily a bad thing. I think that like this aha moment, if I had this aha moment, that would be a good thing. It's like it came up with the aha moments that hopefully we have. And actually one key point that I can double click on here is actually helping. Like this is the B. This is the destination that you want to get to, this aha moment that Copilot listed. But I don't know where my A is right now. There are some phrases in here which I'm fuzzy on. But let's start at the top before we get to the bottom and just make sure I understand everything that we're talking about. Go is statically typed, provides powerful ways to structure and organize data using structs and interfaces, understanding these blah, 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 blah. Struct is a composite data type that groups together variables, fields, under a single type. Structs are used to model real-world entities and data structures. Defining and using a struct. So, one thing that I was thinking about is like if I wanted like to actually run these. Let's do that for fun. So it's giving me an example. Let's say I wanted to run that example. Let's create this example in a folder named after the MD file and the example, so that I can run it. Because it's an agent, also run it. So it created the folder. It put that in here. And now it's asking me if it can run it. So I think it's however, it seems there was an issue running the file due to possible typo or incomplete command in the terminal. So expected package found end of file. What is... I'm not sure what the order of things... There's unsaved changes. We should have done this as separate steps. Should have had it, like, write it and then run it and update. Let's say keep. Because I'm not sure what the state of the file is on the command on the disk. And now we'll have it run it. There it goes. Yeah, it happened so fast. I don't know. Was it missing the package main line? The struct example ran successfully and produced RJ30. And going back to the example. Cool. I actually didn't know if you just like straight up print line a struct, it just prints the values. You know, RJ30, those are the values. No information about the properties, whatever though. Let's actually bug it about that. This example, can we also print the property? Or I'm saying properties. That's or more proper to say fields in Go. Am I doing a JavaScriptism by saying property? Again, I'm going to add all open editors. And I wonder if I have this just like selected. If that highlights it in the context, that hasn't been clear to me in GitHub Copilot. Okay. Not gonna say run yet. Let's see what the changes were. Not here. Not in the example I highlighted. What are the changes? Oh, in main Go. Okay, it did it in the just in the example runnable code piece. Okay. I'll say keep and continue. And now that looks a little bit better. Yeah. Yeah, also want to update that in the docs. Okay, so one interesting thing about Copilot is it, I think I like this, is it's not when it makes an edit, it's not just bringing you there. Otherwise it'd be really jumpy and jittery. So just like keeping an eye on this section of like what changed. It says 3 files changed though. I think it's really just this file that changed. There's no changes here, right? I think that must be a bug in... Like maybe it generated the curriculum in the main file, but it actually only, the diff only, yeah, changed this file. Let's go ahead and keep it. This example prints the struct as a whole and then prints each field name and value explicitly using Go's dot notation for struct fields. Thank you. Let's double click on that field versus property thing. Fields versus properties as far as a name. Why not properties in Go? Am I thinking of a different language or concept? Correct term is fields for the variables inside a struct. The term properties is more commonly used in languages like JavaScript with classes, where properties can have getter setter logic or special behavior. Oh, yeah. So, is that implying that you can't have getter setter logic or special behavior on struct fields? So in Go, always use fields when referring to struct members. Your intuition is correct. Properties is a term, blah, blah, blah. There's an aha moment for me. Please record that in our docs. You know, in this example, like my A point is coming from JavaScript. And I'm tying it to the B point. Let's keep this. So, aha. In Go, the variables inside a struct are called fields, not properties. Properties is a term used in other languages. Okay, actually, that's not quite the aha. Let's I shouldn't have accepted that. I should have rejected that and then pressed up on my keyboard, clarified more what the aha was. But I'm gonna try to do a follow-up with also the aha was functionally how properties and fields are different, i.e. properties can have getters and setters. Please elaborate on that. Allowing you to control how values are accessed or modified. Properties in Go, struct fields are always accessed directly. There's no built-in getters or setters for fields. If you want to control access or add logic, you define explicit methods. Oh, this is getting into a really important point in Go about using, right, not having getters and setters, but the methods are functionally them. This makes Go's approach straightforward and explicit. I'm gonna keep that. All right, so in the curriculum, I guess I'm not in its curriculum. There's a functions and methods part. Oh, but that's before structs and interfaces. Yeah, I think this is a topic we want to expand on. So, I'm going to ask it. So, do we cover this concept of using functions as setters? I think I could, coming from JavaScript/TypeScript, I think I could use some examples to tie things together. And before I ask this, like this point, this is this is where I'm coming from. When I was first learning Go, I looked up a course like Go for TypeScript developers and took that, and that was kind of helpful. It didn't tie it back to TypeScript that much. And it's funny, years later, I like can't find that course anymore when I Google for it, or on the website of where it was hosted. But I'm gonna go to the README. Notes about RJ comes from a JavaScript, TypeScript background. Please explain when explaining differences, when explaining concepts in Golang, if there is if you can tie it back to TS, please do, whether it's a difference or similarity. I'm gonna say both difference and similarity. For starters, if it really latches onto this instruction and it's talking about the similarity a lot, that might get old. It's just like everything will be explained twice. The differences might be the more important part, but we're gonna see how it goes. I'm gonna highlight this. Add all open editors. So when adding context, I'm just noting I almost actually expect, unless it happens automatically, the part that I have selected in the editor being included in the prompt in my question. Not sure if it is, but if it wasn't, I might also expect it would be like added here. Well, let's see what it does. Oh, it's updating some examples. All right, where are we in the structure of this doc? We did the structs, key points, example. Using methods as setters in Go compared to JSTS properties. In Go, you can use methods to control how struct fields are set. Similar to how yep. So we've got a struct, an unexported field, aka private, name one. So are we going to do like a name, set name? Yeah. Got it. it's a good thing I asked this question, because otherwise this curriculum would have might have never gotten into the receiver thing. So this is called a receiver in Golang, so that you can set on the person struct, you can have defining methods, and not just and not just properties. I don't know if it would have gotten into this topic if I hadn't asked this question, which makes me wonder if it's better to start with, instead of generating the content on the fly, it's like a markdown textbook written by an author already, and then you work through that collaboratively. But maybe I just need to get better at asking what I want out of the textbook. If I rewind back to saying, like, I want to get, go deep on topics, or deeper. It's not even that deep. So I should be writing a textbook about what I'm doing right now. Because this is one of those aha moments, possibly. Meta about the process. All right, let's keep this example. So now, I guess previously we were setting the name in the struct literal. This is called struct literal, right? It just okay, so in VS Code, this is the Command I shortcut to like select something and comment on it, and I know like maybe just that is getting sent to as the context, and it just like wrote that straight into here, totally breaking this example. I should have said in chat, I think. Yes, this is called a struct. Okay, let's try that again. Hold on. Command I. What is send and dispatch? Let's see what that does. No results. Okay, there. It just did what it was supposed to. I think that was just LLMs being LLMs. It's essentially doing like chat inline. Okay. Oh, it gave me a JS-TS comparison, where I have a setter and getter for name. Like I guess a similar pattern. You accomplish the same thing, but you're just wiring it up differently. And now I have an example of, I guess what this doesn't have is it doesn't have the get name part. Whereas this example, this is I'm zoomed in right now because I want to make sure that this is good for stream. I'm gonna zoom out one more because it's a little too cozy. So the thing I wanted to point out in the example it gave is we have set and get for name. So something external can. Oh, interesting. The example is not. Yeah, right. It's because setters and getters in TS.js are not. They're not functions. So it's showing set and get of that, but we don't have equivalent. We just have set for name. We don't have the. Oh no, we have the get. There it is. Okay. So is that a typical convention? Is you say for a private, lowercase n, name, property, private, unexported field, would you typically have a SET property name and then a capital letter function for the getter? I'm gonna ask. Is that a typical pattern to have to explicitly say set in the setter in Go, but not say get, just the property name capitalized in the getter? Yeah, that's typical Go convention. Setter methods are usually named set as a prefix. Getter methods are usually just the field name capitalized. This keeps Go concise and idiomatic. The reasoning is that the getter is the natural way to access the value, so you just use the field name as the method name. Setter, being an action, uses set as a verb. Different from other languages like Java, where both setters and getters are prefixed. Cool. Please add that as a note in the docs. This is kind of an aha for me, but more relevant to the docs inline. Adding all open editors. I wish I could pin this so that like they're in context every time. That GitHub Copilot authors, is that a feature? All right, so right below the example, it added a Go naming convention note. Yeah, that's cool. Thank you for adding that. I'll keep it. All right. Let's create the example. In the README, I'm going to add about creating examples, a note here. When RJ asked to create an example from the docs, create a folder name similar to the doc the example lives in. Followed by some unique, name similar, referencing the example. Whoops. Oh, I did specify the example, right? Yeah. Wait, but I think I messed up. Cancel, undo. It's gonna revert those changes. Go back here. Okay, now I'm on the example. I think I was still in the README and I didn't have this documentation actually in context. Again, all open editors. I wish this was just pinned. This is confusing. When I click this, I don't know what that is. Struct example and interface example. Oh, was this how it was before, where there was inside? We've got this struct and interfaces doc, and now a struct and interfaces folder. The interface example and the struct example. I am confused about what it just did, and also forgetting what example it created before. This is where Git would come in handy. But I'm just gonna keep going. Say continue. It's running the interface example. It's still working through something. Okay. Yeah, I think asking it to run it as it goes, maybe that's good. Maybe it's good to just like let it cook and not pay attention to the output. I'm just gonna keep saying yes, go. Okay, so it had an empty file. It planned that it was gonna create this file structure, yada, yada, yada. Okay, now I think it's happy with this. So if we look at these two files, they actually have contents. Okay. So what did you create? Let's create a defining and using interface example. Is this actually the example that we wanted? Yeah, the example wasn't yet using an interface, I don't think, but that's good to have it. So I'm just reading through this example. Let's go back to the docs. Where were we? I asked it to do this defining and using an interface example. Was this updated? All right, whatever. I could have swore there wasn't an interface here before, but that's cool too. Probably just because I'm learning something right now. So this example, it's wait, what was my question? I think this is user error. I meant yeah, I'm just getting lost. I think I meant to ask for a different example. But let's keep rolling with this one. Defining and using an interface. This is great. Defining a greeter interface. An interface is a type that specifies a set of method signatures. Any type that implements these methods satisfies the interface. So you can see that the interface is a greeter that has a method greet. Person has a name. We don't define methods. It's not like a class where we define, right? Let's just keep these examples. Okay. So in TS, well, I guess this is kind of a moot point. Because in TS you could also have the greeter interface. All right. So instead of defining greet on the struct, it's defined as a receiver. And then there's this say hello function where a greeter gets passed in, and we can call g.greet, and I bet we're creating a person and doing say hello, right? So the type here is not person. Like this could be updated as person, and this example would still work. But the key point is that this is greeter. And because person has a greet method, this compiles. Let's check my understanding. So in that example, I think the thing being pointed out is that the say hellos G parameter signature. Do I say signature or type here? Is greeter, not person. But because the person struct implements phrasing, the greet function, you can pass a person into the say hello function. Oh, it's adding my insight as a comment. I added an inline note to the defining using blah blah blah, clarifying the say hello function parameter type blah blah blah. Person implements the interface by having a greet method. Also explains the correct Go terminology and concept of implicit interface satisfaction. I was asking about the phrasing. This needs to be wider. The parameter G says hello, not person struct. The parameter G in say hello has the type greeter. Yep. Not person, the struct. Because person implements the greet method, it satisfies the greeter interface. Satisfies the greeter interface. This means you can pass a person to say hello, even though the function expects a greeter. In Go, we say that person implements the greeter interface by having the required methods. What did I say? Implements the greet function. No, I should have said satisfies the interface. In Go, we say person implements the greeter interface by having the required methods. This is key feature of Go's interfaces. Any type has the necessary methods, automatically satisfies the interface. Implicit implementation. In Go, we usually say type for the parameter. So the G parameter's type is greeter. Yeah. So good little note for myself in the example. It looks like it malformed the markdown here, though. I'm gonna give it a little help. I think. Yeah, okay. There was extra backticks right there. I feel like the placement of this note is awkward. I'm gonna put it at the top of the example. Also, in my experience, LMs are bad at like writing comments in and formatting them to conform to line lengths in the code base. So I see it put each sentence on a new line. That's why this formatting looks so weird. There is an extension for VS Code where you do Option Q or Control Q that formats it magically and wonderfully. I don't think I have that on this machine. Nope. I'm going to have to install that later. I guess, so to wrap this up, I'm going to add this example. Our progress so far. Add curriculum. Oops. Let's update that README. Add more instructions to the README. Now let's add that example. Add structs and interfaces. Unit and examples. All right. Reviewing the aha moments and Go, the variables inside a struct are called fields, not properties. Sure. I realize that Go's interfaces are satisfied implicitly makes the language. that's the one it added right out of the gate. Please expand on this aha moment. So, you know, that's like written like the textbook writer might like write it. So it added a sentence here. In Go, you don't need to declare a type implements an interface. If it has the required method, it just works. Where you must explicitly declare a class implements an interface. Right. Got it. Yeah. That's the nice thing about Go. It's just kind of things like, it's almost like a struct can satisfy an interface just by sheer luck. Two completely different code. If 2 bits, you know, could be from different packages and different locations from the universe, and if they rhyme, then they satisfy the interface implicitly. You don't have to say in the original code for a struct, you don't have to say that it implements a specific interface. If it rhymes, then it implicitly implements it. All right. Types can satisfy multiple interfaces without extra boilerplate. Also encourages designing small, focused interfaces. Cool. So that makes sense to me now. It's like, if it rhymes, it works. Undo. I need to be more specific. When we say, would it be fair to say also something like, if it rhymes, it works? Yes, it's fair to say if it rhymes, it works to describe Go's implicit interface satisfaction. I've added this memorable phrase to the end, expanded the aha. So that's one thing I like about the strategy is like, I'm also, yeah, I'm like having an aha, but like checking it. Because you could have a aha that points you in the wrong direction. You could be like, oh, I got the impression walking away from this material that cars can fly. Oh, you were talking about airplanes. It just added it to the end. Could have done that myself. I think, you know, I'm just going to underline this. As if I was underlining in a textbook. Keep. Hey, look, it added it back to curriculum. All right, well, I think that's about... Oh, it'd be nice if I push this up. I'm going to add this repository real quick for completeness. And then we can see how it's rendered online. I just have to log into GitHub off screen. New repository. Living textbook. Golang. All right. Adding this remote repository that I just created. Git push origin main. Now let's take a look at this on GitHub. Living textbook for RJ to study Golang. Here's my notes. If I go to the curriculum file, I should be able to click over to what we were working on. Structs and interfaces. Yep. This looks much better on GitHub, even though it's wonky. My aha moments. Oh, you know what? I haven't committed my latest. And now we see if it's like, if it rhymes, it works. Nice. All right, so that about wraps it up. In conclusion, some takeaways for me on this run. The curriculum is maybe missing some pieces that I would like to have added. But I could imagine it being something where if I worked through those pieces, if I was actually starting from the beginning, I would want to work through those pieces and then go hey, what other topics could we talk about here? And then it would come up with additional curriculum to add here. On the initial content that it generated for structs and interfaces, the one thing that would have helped maybe is I ended up adding some pieces about where I'm coming from to the README, if I had done that to begin with. if this would have developed some documentation that would have been more personalized for myself, as an improvement I could have made. You know, going. This is probably something I'm going to keep using to learn Go. I will ask it to dive deeper on the curriculum. I will push it when I am, for example, working in a part of a code base where I'm like, hey, I haven't seen this pattern before. It's related to concurrency. I might ask it to do the concurrency chapter, feed it the example, have it tease it apart, build documentation, follow-up questions for me, record my aha moments. Since this is a public repository, definitely can't be pasting any code snippets into this that are private. It probably makes sense to have these things as private. Like, I'm gonna keep this one as public because it's an example for this stream, but it probably makes sense to ultimately like do private repositories for these things for yourself, because these are your personal notes. Creating examples with the docs, that's great. Didn't spend too much time in this session on examples, because they were pretty vanilla examples, or pretty, a lot of this is because like I've already learned most of this, and this is really just about like, this session was about just knowledge checking, like, and so yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this goes when I find areas that are going to be more challenging for me. In some ways this was contrived because it wasn't, a lot of it wasn't new learning, and it was just really just polishing, and filling in gaps, like the fields and properties aha moment, around getters and setters and all that stuff. Like that was interesting, filling in gaps and just observations that I just didn't otherwise have. All right, well, interesting experiment. If you are watching this, thanks for joining. If you try this yourself, I would love to hear how it goes for you. And as always, thanks for watching. I'm RJ. This is Hacking with RJ. Have a nice day.